Hey everyone, welcome to Open Eyes. Hey everyone, welcome to Open Eyes.
Hey everyone, welcome back to your favorite podcast, Open Eyes. And this is your favorite host, Alexis Lugo. And I wanted to give you a little bit of backstory / story time on my vacation to California and how I, being legally blind, traveled by myself. And I've traveled by myself before, but it's been a while. And I was like, I want to challenge myself again. So I did it again. And I wanted to share how it went for me, my experience, and things like that. So I went from July 1st to 15th. I went to California and I had a good time. I loved it. And I wanted to share how it went having a disability and traveling by myself. So before I went to my destination, I checked in and I did all that. I checked in my bags and everything. And then what I did was that I paid for priority boarding, which was like only $9, which wasn't so bad, $18 there and back. And I asked for, I was like, okay, I'm legally blind. I need this type of accommodations. I have a white cane as my medical equipment because they'll ask you, what type of disability you have. They'll ask you, oh, what type of a medical equipment are you going to use? What are the types of service do you need? And things like that. I was like, okay, I'm all good and everything. But then when I got to the airport, when I was leaving, all I got was a wheelchair service. And I was like, this is not what I needed, but okay, if it's going to get me to my point A to my point B faster, that's fine. And because when I traveled from Austin to California, when I traveled for the very first time by myself, I got a person that assisted me, went through security with me, took me to my gate, told me okay, put me in the front seat. We're okay, you'll hear when priority boarding happens, and you'll just go up there with your ticket and everything. So it was all good, and I thought I was going to get the same service, but I didn't, and I was so sad. All I got was a wheelchair service. I was like, okay, that's fine. So the lady went through security with me. It was all good, all that, and then she took me to my gate, and all she did was she left me there, and I thought she was going to wait for me. I was so oh, this is not the service I needed, but all right, I'll take it. And so I waited on my gate. She's like, oh, it's over there. I'm like, that's not that descriptive, ma'am. And I was all I did was okay, I'm gonna ask somebody. And I was like, oh, I found a family, and they're going to LA too. So I was like, okay. And then also I heard, okay, people with priority boarding or people with children, things like that. I heard, or people that need more assistance. I heard. It's okay, that's me. I need more assistance. And so I took out my white cane. I mainly used it for ID and because I have more issue night blindness. So during the day I can see things. Not so detailed, but I can. And so I did all that. That was good. I told the lady when I got on the plane, I was like, okay, I need help getting to my seat. Can you help me? She was so nice. She helped me get to my seat. She was so descriptive. She's like, okay, we're going to move 4 rows back, frontwards, and okay, here's your seat, things like that. And then when it was they do security, they're okay, this is talks about the procedures. She was very descriptive. Before they started, she went up to me and she's like, okay, do you want to feel this? Here's the life vest, here's the air mask, all these things. She's like, do you want to touch it? And she was very descriptive about it, and I was like, oh, this is so accessible. And I had a good trip. The only thing I didn't like was that it was so crowded, and I was like, oh, no. But that's what you get for riding Spirit Airlines. Everyone has gone to that Spirit Airlines. You know that it's oh, no. So then I was like, okay, this is all good, all that. And then I just got a wheelchair service. I was like, this is LAX. It's so crowded. It was during the 4th of July weekend. It was so packed. On the way landing and the way there, it was so packed. The airport was, oh no. I was like, last time I'm going on a holiday. No, thank you. So then what I did was okay, this is so fun. Everything, I enjoyed my trip. I went to Disneyland and I used my disability there, and I got fast passes, I was like, oh my God, a pro of having a disability. I got a fast pass to Disneyland. Things like that. And then when I went to Universal, I got the same treatment with my fast passes. And I was like, oh, another pro of having a disability. I was like, oh, so amazed. Also, on my way back to Texas, I was like, okay, like I know what was this and that. I was putting in my bag. I was checking my bags because now you don't like go to a person. They just like there's a machine, and you put in your information and all that. And I had an issue, and then the lady that was helping me, she goes, "Are you traveling with a minor?" Because I was with my aunt and my cousin. And I was like, no, I'm 24. I'm an adult. And she goes, oh my gosh, honey, you're so young. You look so young. You don't look 24. And I was dying. I was like, no, yeah. That also happened when I went to drag brunch. The lady's like, how old are you? I was like, 24. She's like, I need to see your ID. And I was like, okay. And I gave her my ID, and she kept looking at it. I was like, she's like, okay. And she let me in, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, I have this issue all the time. And I told my cousin, she's like, yeah, same. I was like, yeah, the curse of looking so young. And so, yeah, that happened. And then all that, I got the same wheelchair service. They were taking their pretty time, but it was okay, I got it. And then, same thing, when I boarded the plane, I told the lady that I needed help with my seat. And she helped me, things like that. And this time, I got the whole row to myself, and I was so happy. I was like, yes. The whole row to myself. I can lay down. I don't have no one bothering. I feel comfortable. And so yeah, that was my experience. And also the California trip to Texas, they were not that accessible for my instance. Like I wish she was more descriptive and things like that, but I was like, the only help they gave me was like, oh, do you want me to help you sighted guide? Things like that I got, but I didn't get the service I wanted. So I was like, I know it's not the same, but oh well. But yeah, that was my trip, my vacation to California. I loved it. I was like, I love the California weather. I don't want to go back to Texas because all I hear Texas weather is like 101, 105, 108. I was like, hell no, I do not want to go back. I was like, in California, it was like 62, 85. The most it got was like 96, but it went back down. I was like, I love this weather. I wish I could live here if it wasn't so expensive. I was like, no. And I was like so sad to come back because when I come back, I was like, it was 10:30 at night and you could still feel the heat, the humidity. I was like, damn, it's like almost midnight and it's still so humid in Texas. Oh my God. No, I wasn't so excited to come back, but I was like, I miss my dog. I miss my own bed. I was like, I miss my routine. So I was like, okay, I need to come back anyway. So I was like, but I'm like, there's one of my travels, which is one of my goals this year is to travel more. So I want to go to more places and travel more. That's one of my goals this year is to be more adventurous, be more like planning, things like that. And I'm like, yes, this is my era, my independent girly era of me traveling. But first, gotta get that coin somehow, so. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope that you maybe you are on your travel journey as well. And make sure to follow us on Instagram at open.eyes23. That's at open.eyes23. And also make sure to follow us on TikTok, which is openeyes23. That is at openeyes23 on TikTok, where you could see some of my travel journeys, some things I got up to in California. Also, make sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. That's at Open Eyes on Spotify. And thank you.